Did you know that the SpongeBob you watch on your TV might be totally different from the one airing in other countries? That's right, some scenes were changed, censored, or even completely replaced around the world.
Imagination.
Let's start with a pretty controversial episode in Europe and Asia. SpongeBob is calmly watching TV at home when Gary suddenly shows up, and SpongeBob quickly switches the channel to a football game. From SpongeBob's reaction when Gary enters, it's pretty clear he was watching something inappropriate, if you know what I mean. At least that's what the creators intended to imply. Countries like the Philippines and Russia decided this scene wasn't suitable for kids, so they cut it entirely, jumping straight to the football game, making it look like SpongeBob had been watching it all along. Today, we're going to show you 10 SpongeBob scenes that aren't the same everywhere, and trust me, the list is unmissable. Ready? Let's blow your mind together. One of the most iconic episodes from Season 2 is Sailor Mouth, where SpongeBob and Patrick discover some forbidden words. Since they don't realize what they mean, they go around saying them non-stop, even though they act like little kids hearing bad words for the first time, repeating them without understanding. It's still pretty clear what kind of words they're saying, even though the show censors them with funny sounds. In the US, the swear words were covered with ship horn sounds, while in Brazil, they used dolphin noises instead. But in countries like the UK and France, they replaced them with silly animal sounds. It made the scene less controversial, but also less funny, according to the creators of the episode. Now here's one of the smallest cuts ever made to an episode. It happens when SpongeBob and Patrick start arguing about how easy it is to be a fry cook. This episode takes place during the Fry Cook Games, where the Krusty Krab competes, with SpongeBob representing them. Of course, Mr. Krabs hates losing and wants to win at all costs, but Plankton also wants the prize. So he takes advantage of SpongeBob and Patrick's fight to try and grab first place. The two eventually face off in the ring but make up just in time, restoring their friendship like we all know. The problem comes in the scene where they hug and apologize to each other. SpongeBob and Patrick walk away hand in hand, wearing only their underwear, declaring their love for each other. That entire episode was completely banned in the Middle East, in countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, because that kind of behavior goes directly against the culture and religion of those regions. In the episode Welcome to the Chum Bucket, we all know it's Plankton's failed restaurant and Mr. Krabs' worst enemy. There's a shocking deleted moment from the original Season 2 version. In that scene, Plankton actually removes SpongeBob's brain to put it into a robot. But as you can imagine, that was considered way too dark for a kid's cartoon, so the entire part was completely cut and never aired. In the episode Nasty Patty, the original version was supposed to be longer, but several cuts and changes were made because it was considered too disturbing. In the original cut, a health inspector visits the Krusty Krab to check the restaurant's hygiene conditions. SpongeBob then asks him to place his order. The first deleted scene contained a rather gross joke where SpongeBob actually puts the inspector's Krabby Patty inside his pants. Another scene showed the inspector looking half dead, and they decided to cut the part where Mr. Krabs asks SpongeBob to take the body and stuff it in the trunk of a car. Suddenly, the inspector wakes up, and SpongeBob slams the trunk shut, locking him inside while saying, "Everything's clean now." Another weird part is that there are police officers in the scene who see everything happening, and Mr. Krabs hands them a pile of cash, so they'll pretend they didn't see a thing. Somehow, the inspector manages to escape and walks back into the Krusty Krab kitchen, where everyone's gathered. In the original version, he appears holding a gun and threatens the officers, but it turns out the weapon is actually a document saying they passed the health inspection. If you're enjoying discovering these bizarre SpongeBob changes from around the world, don't forget to hit that like button because it really helps me bring you more videos like this, and drop a comment below. Which of these scenes did you find the strangest so far? Once again, in another episode, SpongeBob's relationship with his best friend Patrick sparked some confusion and controversy. This time when the two are out walking and stumble upon a tiny abandoned scallop baby. The little scallop is completely alone, so they decide to take it home and raise it as their own child. But here's the question: who's the mom and who's the dad? Pretty complicated situation, don't you think? Even in non-conservative countries, this scene caused surprise and discomfort. In some places, such as the United Arab Emirates, to avoid exposing kids so openly to the idea of a same-sex couple raising a baby, the entire episode was removed, while in countries like the United States, it was kept, though it did receive a lot of complaints. Everyone knows SpongeBob is the happiest guy under the sea, right? But as we also know, Squidward is the most miserable one in the series, always grumpy, complaining, and annoyed by SpongeBob and Patrick's antics. In the episode Are You Happy Now? From Season 8, Squidward gets really sad while talking to SpongeBob and realizes he doesn't have a single happy memory. Poor guy. The sadness hits him hard, and he sinks into a deep depression. He stays home, loses all motivation, and no one hears from him for weeks. Squidward appears looking ill and drained, and some countries didn't like the episode's theme at all. Several scenes even suggest dangerous situations that kids might imitate at home, like putting one's head inside an oven, which is obviously extremely worrying. Most countries kept the scene, but across much of Asia it was removed. And as if the oven joke weren't dark enough, right after that Squidward is seen tying a rope with an extremely depressed expression, implying something self-destructive. if you know what I mean. In reality, he's just hanging a cage for his pet scallop, but still, countries like the United States and Australia allowed the scene, while others like Russia, Indonesia, and South Korea cut the beginning that hinted at anything dangerous for children. I honestly never imagined there were so many SpongeBob censorships around the world, did you? In the next episode, we see one of the show's most iconic characters being censored in several countries. We all know Sandy is the only mammal in Bikini Bottom, always wearing her oxygen-filled spacesuit. Because, let's face it, how else would she breathe underwater, right? What many people don't know is that some countries modified the scenes where Sandy appears wearing a bikini, claiming it was inappropriate. She wears her well-known purple bikini while relaxing at home, but in Muslim countries, that kind of clothing is considered offensive and forbidden for women. So every scene showing Sandy in a bikini was changed. In Iran, they gave her a full-body purple jumpsuit to respect the country's cultural norms. You've got to admit, Squidward is the character who gets hurt the most in the entire SpongeBob series, and some countries decided that even his suffering had to have a limit. In the episode Life Insurance, SpongeBob signs a life insurance policy and tries every possible way to injure himself. Throughout the episode, Patrick and SpongeBob convince Squidward to get one too. Feeling safe, he goes to a place that has a machine called the Sushi Maker, just to prove to everyone that he's not going to get hurt anymore, but ends up in excruciating pain. The scene was considered way too graphic and torturous, so it was censored and banned in Indonesia.
No.
In Season 12, the episode Goofy Goobers had a few scenes deleted because they were considered unsafe for kids. Remember that episode where Patrick takes SpongeBob to join the Goofy Club? Once SpongeBob is accepted as a member, he gets a badge pinned directly onto his body with a tack. Yep, you read that right. Later, when SpongeBob leaves the club, he runs into Sandy, who points out the ridiculous badge, and SpongeBob immediately grabs it and tosses it into his mouth, tack and all, swallowing it. We've got to admit that could definitely influence kids to chew or swallow dangerous objects. Because of that, this scene was removed in countries like Ireland and the United Kingdom. It was a beautiful day in Bikini Bottom when SpongeBob witnessed something he definitely didn't want to see first thing in the morning. Mr. Krabs was washing his car while wearing tiny shorts, dancing enthusiastically to some upbeat music and wiggling his hips like he was in a summer commercial. SpongeBob is so traumatized by the scene that he runs away screaming. That scene ended up being cut in more conservative countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia because Mr. Krabs' short shorts and suggestive dancing were considered too risque for a kid's cartoon. I bet the SpongeBob fans who saw the full version in South Korea, where the episode had almost no changes, will never forget that legendary moment. In the episode Sea Song, we find out that Patrick Star has a thing for mermaids and ends up meeting a few along the way. As we've seen before, some countries on this list tend to censor or completely remove scenes that don't align with their cultural values. For instance, this scene was modified in Iran because the mermaids were wearing small seashell tops that were considered inappropriate for children in that country. In the edited versions, the mermaids appear wearing multiple layers of clothing, making Patrick's flirtation seem much more innocent. So have you ever seen any of these alternate SpongeBob versions? I bet at least one of them caught you off guard. Now don't leave yet. Click one of the videos on your screen and keep diving with me into this ocean of fun facts. See you in the next video.